If you're someone who's tired of modern day Hollywood stories, this video is for you. Welcome back to A2HEROES. A2HEROES follows the story of Black Dragon and Pink Firefly. Black Dragon and Pink Firefly is a comic book series for people who are tired of modern day Hollywood stories. No wokeism, no girl bosses, no left wing bullshit, no right wing bullshit, no feminism, no lecturing, just good stories. Today we're going over a video by Nerd World called Feminism is Not Heroism. And it covers the details of why promoting feminism is not the exact same thing as promoting heroism. The mistake that many writers in Hollywood and pop culture and media tend to make today, where they have female characters or even sometimes male characters championing the virtues of what it means to be a woman, of females, and what it means to be a female in general, and they use that as a as a substitute for what it means to be valiant, what it means to be heroic, what it means to be self-sacrificing and altruistic. But they're not the same thing. But it's because they have their own modern day politics and their own modern day dogma and their own modern day ideology that they want to forward, that they inject these notions into our media. So she's going to break it down really well and show us the distinction between both of them. Heroism on one side, that's universally acclaimed and lauded, and feminism on the other, that's only locally acclaimed and sometimes lauded. A really good video. I recommend this. Let's get into it.
The recent failure of the Supergirl movie, the second film in what was supposed to be James Gunn's epic cinematic universe, has thrown one thing into sharp relief. Female superheroes are failing. The argument can be made that all superhero movies are failing, and there is some truth to that. However, with the pre-sales for Spider-Man Brand New Day through the roof, that's still something of a controversial opinion. The fact of the matter is that superhero movies like Spider-Man and Batman will likely always make money. They seem to be the two premier heroes that can exist and be popular outside of any of the cinematic universes that we have seen. And for the sake of the genre, that's probably a good thing. Those two heroes appeal the most to the general audience, and it's not because they are men or because there is an agenda that they're trying to push. It's because they are entertaining and embody the best of humanity despite its difficulties and darknesses.
They embody the best of humanity despite its difficulty and darknesses. Thank you very much. That's why these two movies have long-term staying power in the popular zeitgeist and the pop culture. And that's why people keep going back to them and returning to them, because they embody the best of humanity, regardless of its difficulties and its darknesses. I really like that. And she phrased it really well. I saw the new Spider-Man movie, and while it wasn't perfect, I didn't like every single thing about it. There's some points that I have to reach out to and critique on, if I'm being very frank, but it was much better than the Supergirl movie. It was much better than the tripe that we saw from DC. Much better, because they focused on the essential universal qualities of being a human being, as opposed to just the local qualities of being one person. So let's keep going.
The same cannot be said for the more recent additions to both Marvel and DC's cinematic universes, and it's a problem that has lasted for at least the last half-decade. Powerful female characters have been introduced time and time again throughout the superhero genre, and very few of them have been worth remembering with anything other than memes or disgust or disdain.
Such a shame, too. Several powerful female characters have been released throughout the last half decade, and very few of them are worth remembering. They're just worth memeing on, joking on, and dunking on. And it's because the writers themselves, the producers, the editors, right, the storyboard writers did not make them intrinsically valuable. They made their only ethos about being female. Like, they happen to be female, but that doesn't mean you should make their overall ethos about being female. You should have made it about truth, justice, and the American way, like, if you fucking want to, but something larger than them, something more nobler than them. Being a hero is not about yourself. That's one of the main things that writers in Hollywood and all over media like need to get their head around. Being a hero is literally not about yourself. It's about serving other people. It's about being a servant to the public, right? It's about being someone who others can rely on, and who is self-sacrificial for the good of other people. And they had such a brilliant opportunity, such a window of opportunity to make several compelling female heroes that would have been beloved and immortalized in the public eye. Like, this is something that if you'd given me, I would have just hit out the park immediately. There'll be no question about it, right? This is no question, like, in any way whatsoever. There's no question whatsoever. I would definitely have been able to bring these female characters into the public eye and have them be beloved, lauded, and loved by fans all over the world, because I myself love them. I grew up with them. I used to be into comic books and stories and stuff like that before they became mainstream and popular. And so these are female characters that already had several decades of like fan readership and loyalty and exposure in general is what I'm saying. They already had fan exposure for decades, and people loved them. People loved and followed them. They were incredible. It was only until they hit the silver screen that they then became detestable. So that's the fault of modern day media. That's the fault of modern day Hollywood. And that's the fault of modern day stories. So I hold them accountable for that. These female characters in and of themselves are flawless, but their execution in the modern day is just reckless. So let's keep going here.
And though Supergirl is just the most recent addition in this long list of feminist heroes, she is probably the final form of this type of feminism that has just been constantly evolving in the last 10 years. But I've begun noticing a pattern when it comes to these feminist superheroes, and that is that they are slowly basing the definition of their heroism on their status as a woman and what that means for them before they will consider what it means to be a hero for the world.
They're slowly basing their definition of a hero on their status as a woman, and they're placing that before what that would mean to be a hero for the world. That's roughly by and large what she said there, and I completely agree with all of it. Like, they're prioritizing their femininity above the community, and that's not something that, quite frankly, anyone should do, much less a heroic person should do. And it's the fault of these writers. It's these writers who are making them do that. It's these writers who are trying to push their politics, agenda, perspective, and things like that in order to try and make people, I don't know, like them. But in my opinion, it's silly, because the worst way to get people to like you is by telling them to like you, or by telling them you're a badass or like you're incredible, telling them that they should like you in some way. That's like the worst way to get people to like you. In a way, it's almost better to get people to like you by pretending like you don't care, or like, yeah, whatever. Like, if you like me, you do. If you don't, you don't. Then it leaves it up to them. But if you just walk up to me and tell me to like you, I'll be like, no. So being a hero is about serving other people. Being a hero is about being a warrior, right? It's about being a protector. And when you're a warrior, you're fighting for a cause. When you're a protector, you're defending something else. All right? You're not out here telling us your own personal like politics and visions and goals. So she's right about that. Shout out to Nerdword. Let's continue.
Feminism becomes their ultimate superpower, beyond what they can do for the world, and beyond even what they value. The ultimate form of heroism to all these so-called heroes is embracing their status as a woman and what that means to them.
The ultimate form of heroism for these characters is embracing their status as a woman and what that means to them. She said it perfectly. That's no form of heroism in my mind. Absolutely not.
Whether it is subtle or overt, or simply a part of the messaging for the movie, or working its way into the marketing. I know I shouldn't be surprised given that this notion comes from Hollywood, but the idea that you are heroic simply because you are a woman and look at things from the perspective of a woman is an astonishing notion. And yet this ideal has been making the rounds in superhero movies, action flicks, science fiction, fantasy, and contemporary films.
Yeah, this is what Caleb Jones said. It's been making its rounds in superheroes, action flicks, sci-fi, contemporary films, action, drama, and all sorts of genre. Just all sorts of speculative fiction in the modern age is rife with this nonsense. And it's what A2HEROES is here to do. It's what A2HEROES is here to like fight against. We want to show and depict women in the light of heroism, in the light of true worth, in the light of true recognition and true like applause, not just basing their idea of what it means to be a hero and a servant and a guardian on what it means to be a woman. Those two things don't map on one to one. If not, then every single woman would be a hero, right? I'm going to rewind that because she really hit the nail on the head there.
Astonishing notion. And yet this ideal has been making the rounds, and the idea that you are heroic simply because you are a woman.
You're heroic simply because you're a woman? That's false. I'm sorry, but that's false.
And look at things from the perspective of a woman is an astonishing notion.
It's an astonishing notion, she says, and she's being polite there. Like, just because you're a woman and you look at things from the perspective of a woman doesn't mean you're a hero. But Hollywood won't hear that. Hollywood won't take that. They want that to be the case. They're trying to forward that notion. And she calls it astonishing out of politeness, but it's much worse than that. Let's be frank.
And yet this ideal has been making the rounds in superhero movies, action flicks, science fiction, fantasy, and contemporary film.
Superhero movies, action movies, science fiction, fantasy, and contemporary films. Like, all manner of speculative genre and speculative fiction has just been completely infected by this notion. And it has no buying power. It has no staying power. When A2HEROES comes out and it completely demolishes this notion, it'll be history. It'll be history. Like, there'll be no two ways about it. There'll be no if, ands, or but. Because this is an embarrassing notion for an adult to forward on the silver screen. On the silver screen. It's so embarrassing.
And though there has been pushback, though audiences have been making their voices heard with their dollars and their social media accounts and their scorn, feminism continues to permeate the atmosphere of the greatest IPs, the mindsets of the biggest directors, and the general groundwater of the Hollywood climate for several reasons.
Yeah, she's going to go over the reasons right now, but feminism doesn't permeate the mindset of the authors here. It doesn't permeate the IPs that we have here. It doesn't permeate the community that we're building here. Like, unfortunately for Hollywood and for mainstream media, it does permeate over there. Good for them. More power to them. But over here at A2HEROES, none of that shit. None of that shit. No wokeism, no feminism, no left-wing bullshit, no right-wing bullshit, all right? No communism, no socialism, no BS. Just good old stories. Good old stories with good guy characters, good girl characters, good guy badasses, good girl badasses, evil guy characters, evil girl characters, and no politicking in the middle. Just straight facts. So I really like that. Let's keep going. Let's go over the reasons why it's been permeated. I'm sure she's going to break some of that down.
None of these reasons are good, obviously, but the exploration of them is important because it can lead to better understanding and the continuation of pushback against this subtle but insidious mindset. The first reason that feminism is not heroism is because it's lazy. As I mentioned earlier, most of Hollywood seems to think that all that is necessary to be a hero is to be a woman and think like a woman would and be concerned with issues surrounding themselves. If they're feeling generous, they may also extend that concern to other women, but most of the time it's all about how they feel about things, about how their status or reputation as women is most affected by other factors.
Wow, that's crazy. Most of heroism is about being a woman, what it feels like to be a woman, and your thoughts on being a woman. And then if you're feeling generous, extending that to other women. Wow. I couldn't have said it more right than she did, but that's the truth. Very sad.
They'll also say and do things that have nothing to do with the wider definition of heroism and demand that certain aspects of heroism fit them rather than changing to fulfill those aspects.
I need you to fix this suit.
The suit is literal perfection.
It will be. When it fits a woman.
It would have been bad enough.
Oh my God. If she had just... Oh my God. That was not good. That was so fucking bad. That was cringeworthy on so many levels. The suit is literal perfection. It will be when it fits a woman. Oh Lord, you did not need to say that. Really did not need to say that. She could have said, she could still be arrogant and it would work. She could have said, it will be when it fits me. And we would all have accepted that. That would have been a perfect example of like positive bravado and arrogance. She makes it about herself. She's self-conceited. She's interested. That's like what she does and who she is. But instead, she expands the perfection of the suit into fitting the ideal, like the disembodied woman. All women everywhere. It will be when it fits a woman. It's like, come on, like this is just naked, like politicking at this point. You're not even trying to hide it behind art. And that's another thing that makes their art so horrific and so god awful to watch. They don't even hide it behind anything, any drama or stage play or theatrics. You can see the puppet strings while the play is going on, and it's so god awful. It's really horrific in my opinion. So yuck. I don't want to see any of that in my stories. I'm tired of stories like this. I can't even watch movies and TV shows and stuff like that anymore, if I'm being frank. Because you come across scenes like that, and it's like a small thing, but it just ruins everything. Like, that attitude is just so disgusting and such a big turnoff. So I don't like it.
For Kate Kane to say that the suit would only be perfect when it fit her. But by mentioning that the suit is only worth something when it fits a woman, she is essentially stating that being a woman is the only thing required to be a hero because women are somehow just naturally good.
Thank you, Nerdward. By stating that the suit will only be perfect when it fits a woman, she's essentially stating that being a woman is the only thing that's required to be a hero because women are just naturally good. Or just naturally good. But that's not true. Women are human beings. They participate in good and evil. And they mediate it with choice. They have agency just like men. And so they can choose one or the other. And that choice speaks to their character. And they express that through their conduct. And they're participating in the drama of life. They're not just immortal fixtures of heroism on the horizon for us to admire and applaud. No, they're in the same race of life as we are, and they have to make the same difficult choices. And in fact, it's delving into that story, delving into that drama, delving into those difficulties and those challenges that makes a woman character so compelling. Watching how she grapples with life and does so with dignity, grapples with the difficulties of life with dignity, refusing to bend the knee. Like, oh, so incredible. They could have done that, but instead they make her this illustrious beacon of hope on the horizon that can never be attained, and just a paragon of virtue and morality and exemplar conduct. That's not compelling. That's not good. That's not interesting. No one likes that. So thank you, Nerdward. You said it perfect.
Suit is only worth something when it fits a woman. She is essentially stating that being a woman is the only thing required to be a hero because women are somehow just naturally good. This is, of course, ridiculous because her own sister ended up being the villain of that show, but it's also an incredibly...
Her own sister ended up being the villain. This is another reason why these people make absolutely no sense. Her own sister is the villain of the show, meaning that the villain is also a woman. So every point you're trying to make about heroism being a naturally human quality is just completely shred in half by the second part of your story. This is why I can't watch these stories, because they defeat their own points. Like, they disprove their own positions. They just ruin their own mythos. It's like, your own sister is the villain. So what are you going on about why being a woman is so important? Like, she's a bad guy who's killing people. She's a bad guy who's killing people and torturing babies. Like, what are we talking about here? There's no reason for this on any level. So thank you for that, Nerdward. You said it right.
Lazy way to define heroism. Saying that all that is necessary to be a hero is to be a woman removes the hard work that it takes to actually be a hero. Whether that's family challenges that have to be overcome, the death of a loved one, and moving on from that, and the hard work that it takes mentally to do. Or more commonly, the physical aspects of becoming a hero, the training, the consistency, the concept of getting knocked down and getting back up again to fight another day. These are
Nice. Love Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Love Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Love Toby so much. Incredible work. I grew up with that series, so just has a place in my heart. And she's right. It does overlook the physical training that one requires to be a hero. It does look over the spiritual dedication that one requires. It does look over the loss that one must endure for family members and personal goals that you have to endure in order to go down the heroic path. Right? It overlooks all of that and says all you're required to be this is to be a woman. Done. It's like, what? What? This is so demeaning to the heroes that came before. No. We can have good women heroes that are actually laudable and incredible, but they just don't dip into the dogmatic bullshit that modern day media is doing. And that's what I want to see from A2HEROES. I want to see feminine heroes that are laudable and incredible, but don't pull from any of the modern day mythos, modern day bullshit that we have on the silver screens today. So I'm really excited for this. That's why I'm really looking forward to this project, pursuing it, tracking it down, looking at everything related to it, thinking about it. It's taken over my life at this point. This is horrible, right? This is horrible, but it's the promise of a better future. It's the promise of good old stories returning. It's the promise of creativity. Creative merit is just a priceless art. It's the priceless art. So it's something I want to be a part of in any small way that I can be. And I encourage you guys to be a part of it too as well. So let's keep going. Nerdword is completely on fire right now. I love what she's saying. I'm agreeing with every point, and I'm feeling the video. So let's keep it pushing.
Concepts that heroes like Batman and Spider-Man are intimately familiar with, and as a result, they are some of the most popular heroes ever and will continue to be. They have never been lazy. They have never coasted on their status as men. They are relentless in both the pursuit of perfection and the pursuit of service to others. The very popular quotable phrase, "with great power comes great responsibility," is essentially a phrase detailing how hard it can be a hero and the work that needs to be put in order to remain that way. But that isn't discussed when it comes to these new female heroes, because the hard work of apparently being a woman trumps the petty concerns of breaking your back and needing to retrain in order to become fighting fit.
I have an unpopular opinion. If it's hard work for you to be a woman, you shouldn't be a woman. The end. If it's hard work for you to be a woman, you shouldn't be a woman. The end. Or you're just atrocious at being a woman. For women who are true women and enjoy the experience of being a woman and were born to be a woman, it's an effortless experience. It's something that they cooperate with. It's something that they admire and they love and they feel. It's something that cooperates with their existence and doesn't conflict with it. If it's truly hard work to be a woman, then why are you exerting so much force? Don't be. I like women who are effortlessly feminine, right? That's the way to be. Effortlessly feminine. Oh, incredible.
Again, or losing your entire world because of the sacrifice required to be a hero. Being a woman and being catcalled is worse than losing the last of your family or your entire reality. It is the laziest form of storytelling imaginable, the kind that says, not only am I perfect just the way that I am, but I am excellent because I am a woman. No male hero would ever be able to get away with saying things like that. In fact, James Gunn's most recent Superman film featured a speech from the titular character explaining to Lex that he still worked just like a human would and wasn't perfect, but growing just like a normal human is. If a male superhero can admit that, why can't the females? Why does feminism negate the necessity of hard work or perseverance?
Wow. If a male superhero can admit that, then why can't the females? Why does feminism negate the necessity of hard work and perseverance? That's a question for the ages. All right, that's a question for the ages. One we may never know. Okay? Because that's a very good point she just raised. That's a phenomenal point she just raised. Male heroes often demonstrate and perform bouts of humility and bouts of their insufficiency. They are never always eternally, infinitely competent, able to handle the situation, and then validate that as a testament to the fact that they're masculine. That's just sexist. That's just sick. That's sick. That, the reason I'm so competent and so smart and so good isn't because I trained for years and years and years and really suffered and tried and sweat. It's because I'm a man. It's like, oh, come on. You have to be a human being. you have to be a human being. You have to be a fallible creature who's willing to grow, evolve, and learn. And Lex Luthor is the villain because he doesn't believe that. He needs to be lectured about that fact by Superman. Like, he needs to be told that fact, because when you don't believe that, you're a megalomaniacal villain who wants to take over the world. So what does that say of these female characters that they're feeding us as excuse for heroes? I don't like it. It's not good.
When in all actuality, being a woman has absolutely nothing to do with being a hero at all. And while Hollywood tries to create an environment that is as inclusive to all people groups as possible, in reality, their feminist projects, hero and otherwise, are extremely exclusive in nature. Wanda Maximoff was my favorite character in the MCU before they utterly ruined her in her own show and demonstrated that her brand of heroism is anything but that. There was an exclusivity to the
Wow, Wanda Maximoff could have been incredible. I'd really have loved to see her shine without the drudges of the MCU pulling her down. Like, WandaVision could have been great. I didn't really watch the whole thing myself. I really should go back and check it out some more. But like, her and Vision and their little small town and the alternate reality and stuff, that could have been incredible, but they chose to center it. It's like they can't separate the narrative from the character when that character is female. It's like they're incapable of doing that. I don't like that. I don't like that. You have to be able to separate the narrative. You just have to be. You just have to be. So she's right about that. And I'm sure, you know, the pain of watching one of your favorite characters just get butchered. I'm sure Nerd Ward just had her heart ripped out watching like WandaVision just completely get mucked. Hey, maybe she should come right for A2HEROES. Maybe she has a vision. Maybe she has some perspective that the world can benefit from. You know, maybe she's the right type of person to join this mission, because low key, she knows what it's like to have one of the characters that she loves just be completely ripped apart in their own character biopic. And if you know that pain, you want to get revenge, and the best form of revenge is doing it better than them. That's the best form of revenge, just making your own world, making your own thing, and just creating it as it should have been made in the first place. Creating it as it should have been in the first place. That's like the best thing. That's why I'm here. So I really agree with her. I love what she's saying here. Let's keep going there.
Of these women heroes that is only concerned with how they think and the things that directly impact them. They are obsessed with their own happiness and well-being. They love others, but only in a way that will contribute to their own joy, and they are fiercely vengeful when anyone attempts to take that happiness from them, no matter if it was obtained immorally or not. Their feminism excludes the general masses from the paradigm of heroism because their version of heroism is no longer about acts of service, but about making themselves happy or being the most admired. In fact, there is a fundamental disconnect between heroism being a good thing and a bad thing in their eyes. The most recent Marvel shows of the last few years have gone out of their way for their female characters to promote either their own interests above anything and everything else, or else a sort of anti-heroism that is, for some reason, lauded by the people who are fighting against them. Because they are female, their brand of heroism excludes them from consequences, just as it excludes them from the people that are supposed to be the recipients of their service.
Ooh, because they're female, their brand of heroism excludes them from consequences, just as it excludes them from the people who are supposed to be recipients of their heroic service. Let's play that again, guys. Let's play that again, because she just dropped some super hot fire. Everything she's saying in this video is truth. Truth. I love it. I love to hear it. I want to see more of this. This is incredible. Let's go.
Heroism that is, for some reason, lauded by the people who are fighting against them. Because they are female, their brand of heroism excludes them from consequences, just as it excludes them from the people that are supposed to be the recipients of their service. We are supposed to look up to these heroes, not as rulers, which is strangely what these new feminist heroes think themselves as.
They are. They think themselves as divine rulers sent from above to dominate and lord over us mere mortals. They show it in their attitude. They show it in their disdain for us. They show it in their disregard. It's so clear and evident that they're arrogant. They're arrogant asshats, and you can see it. That's what makes it so insufferable to watch. That's what makes you just so, like, such an eye rolling and groaning experience. It's like, oh, please, like the suit is perfect. It'd be perfect when a woman can fit it. It's like, oh my God, like, Lord have mercy. Just spare me the details. Spare me the sermon. Like, Lord, just put the fucking suit on, go out, get the power up, and kick his ass. What are we doing here? Oh, let's keep going. But she's hitting every nail on the head. I'm really agreeing with her here. I'm loving everything she's saying. I'm in complete lockstep. Like, she's on the money. She's completely on the money here. Nerd word. Let's keep going.
Heroism excludes them from consequences, just as it excludes them from the people that are supposed to be the recipients of their service. We are supposed to look up to these heroes, not as rulers, which is strangely what these new feminist heroes think themselves as, but as a light in dark times. The audience is not supposed to feel so far away from them, like they are some sort of dictator, and not be able to rely upon them for help in a time of crisis. But these exclusionary tactics are deliberate, indicated in the way that Captain Marvel spends years away from Earth, Scarlet Witch erected a barrier between herself and her idyllic living space and the rest of the world, and people like She-Hulk score heroes and demand changes to the narrative to fit her ideal life, and no one else's. The audience is not supposed to feel excluded from these heroes, and yet they do, because feminism demands it be so. One of the most important things that define a hero is their ability and willingness to sacrifice for others, even if it costs them everything. Being sacrificial is one of the oldest tenets of being a hero. In order to obtain the power that they have, it usually costs them something. Family, or a home, or their privacy, or even sometimes their lives. It's a way
That's how Captain America became a hero. That's how Steve Rogers became a hero. They pulled a pin on a grenade during boot camp training and tossed it at his soldiers. And when everyone else dived away, scurried away, what did he do? He jumped on it and shielded his men with his body. That's brave. That's brave. That's self-sacrificial. All right, that's altruistic. That's a level of service and devotion that few people could even muster. Like, I don't think I could. That's amazing levels of self-sacrifice and devotion. I'd love to be at that level. I want to get to that level, but that's that's what a hero is. It gives you something to aspire to. It gives you something to jump up to. I don't get that when I watch these modern day female heroes. There's lots of female heroes that I like from growing up that inspire and encourage me as well. But these modern ones, unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. Let's continue.
Testing the mettle of a person, seeing how they fare under pressure, what sort of person they are to be able to take on the tasks ahead of them. Every male hero has gone through it, whether it's Superman losing his father to a heart attack, something for all his power he could not control, or Captain America sacrificing himself to destroy the Tesseract and giving up any hope of a life with the woman of his dreams. Or even my favorite character, Wanda, having to actually kill the love of her life in the hopes that Thanos won't get his hands on the Mind Stone. It all matters. We all root for them in their sacrifices, and we want them to succeed in spite of everything that they have lost. There are important lessons to be learned through sacrifice, whether it's patience, or letting go, or duty even. But the feminist hero doesn't learn these lessons because loss is seen as an excuse to be allowed to do whatever you want.
The feminist hero doesn't learn these lessons because loss is seen as an excuse to be allowed to do what you want. Wow. Well said. Well said, nerd word. I couldn't have said it better. You just hit the nail on the head and drove it right in. While other heroes take loss and transmute it into growth, unfortunately, the feminist hero given to us by Hollywood takes a loss and transmutes it into permission. Permission for arrogance, permission for absolute authority, permission to deem herself an aristocrat above the rest of us mere mortals. It's very unfortunate, but you're right. Let's keep going.
The loss of her memory and subsequent power-up into becoming Captain Marvel led Carol Danvers to destroying the Kree Central Intelligence and nearly committing genocide, a crime for which she never atoned for. Innocents were caught up in her destruction, but her only goal was to punish. Heroes like Miss Marvel, as much as the
her only goal was to punish. Her only goal was to punish. Thank you. That is That is such a salient point to stop at, because it's the one point where you can really see the naked hand of the writer seeping through the pages and conducting the orchestra of the story. Her only goal was to punish. You can tell that this is an embittered hand that is writing this tale. And in that one moment of vulnerability, their true resentment, their true bitterness, their true anger against the world and man and everything wrong with humanity just seeped through, and they let it out with that form of wrath where she basically almost commits a genocide. Jesus Christ. Like, their only form is to punish. She just wants to be wrathful and ruthless. That's her satisfaction to a world that did her wrong, and it's the confession. It's the silent confession of the writer that, yes, if I was in charge, if I could order things as I wish, then this is what would happen. This is how I would do it. This is what I would make happen. This is what would transpire under my watch. It's a silent admission of resentment. It really is. And that's another reason why we don't like these stories, why they just eat at us and they're just a little caustic and a little bitter, because sucks to say, but they're written by really pained and traumatized people who are angry and mad at the world. They're written by really pained and traumatized people who are really angry and bitter at the world. That's why we don't really like this. That's the feeling we get when we watch these stories. We can tell, we don't know why exactly whilst we're watching it, but when we reflect on it, we can't put our finger on it, but we can tell that, like, the writer didn't channel the good, the noble, the true, and the just. There was something obstructing it. And what was it? It was their pettiness. It was their resentment. It was their ressentiment. All right? It was their bitterness. It was their hurt. It was their pain. It was their trauma. It was their heavy and hard heart that they couldn't lighten or let go of. It was the grudge. That's really why, to the point where they write these characters that become avatars of genocide. Crazy. Become avatars of genocide as a way for them to cope. So listen, I don't want to pay for your therapy, okay? I don't want to pay for your therapy. If you've got psychological issues, I'm sorry, but I wish you the best. Go get help off screen. Leave your therapeutic issues out of my entertainment, please. All right? Please leave your therapeutic issues out of my silver screen experience, please. All right? Please. I just want to go in there, watch a movie, and have fun. Not watch you deal with the various complexities of the human heart and try and push your trauma onto us. Like, we're just the audience, all right? We're innocent. All right, we're innocent. So take it easy. But that's the reason why these stories really don't land. That's the reason why these characters are evil. That's the reason why feminism is not a replacement for heroism. All right, I'm going to keep going here. Nerdward is really spitting. She's really putting things together. She's really making sense. And we're going to go to the last bit of the video here and see what she's saying.
She does seem like a nice person who sacrificed nothing to gain her powers, which came from some strange magical space bracelet. She-Hulk became like a cousin on accident and spent most of her show resenting heroes and everything they stood for. If anything, feminism in Heroes has shown that a loss allows them to do anything that they want regardless of the consequences. Sacrifice means nothing. Cost means nothing, because there is a focus on making everything being as easy for the protagonist as possible. And by easy, that means having no standards, being exactly who you are, even if who you are is a disgusting shell of yourself and never...
That means having no standards and being exactly who you are. I love that she said that. Brilliantly well made point. That means having no standards and being happy exactly as who you are. See, the thing about standards is that standards protect you from yourself. When you have standards, you prevent yourself from having poor experiences in life. You prevent yourself from having poor occurrences in life. And when you accept yourself for who you are, then you refuse to change for who you should be. So a lack of standards harms you from the external by allowing things that shouldn't come into your life get in there, right? And so you didn't have enough quality control. And then accepting yourself for who you are harms you from the inside, because then it allows you to produce a malignant version of your personality, a malignant version of yourself who unfortunately has aspects of themselves that ought to be kept in check that have now overgrown and have now run out of control. And you're showing that aspect. Maybe you're a bit too aggressive. Maybe you're a bit too solipsistic. Maybe you're a bit too arrogant. Maybe you're a bit too much of a bully. A bit too much. It's not good to accept yourself for who you are. That's not true. And I think the modern day heroes and the modern day stories that we watch really proclaim accepting yourself as who you are as part of the journey to becoming your best version of yourself. No, that's not true. That's not true. If I accepted myself for who I was many years ago, I wouldn't be making as much money as I am today. I said, no, there's more inside of you. There's more that you can do. There's more that you can pull out. If gym bros accept themselves for who they are today, they wouldn't go on to bench 200, 300, 400 pounds of weight and grow their muscles, grow their biceps, grow their legs, grow their quads, They wouldn't have that. If long distance runners accepted themselves for who they are, then they would never become these long distance machines that we have. In accepting yourself for who you are, you accept that your limitations are true and valid. But in denying that, then you give yourself permission to break those limitations, and that allows you to become a better person. That's what these feminist heroes are missing. They need to accept that they're not as good as they are. And I think what it really is that the internal admission that they're not as good as they are mirrors the external insult that they're not as good as they are, coming from other people and men and people who hate them and stuff. And so they think that if the internal message and the external message lines up, then it gives the external message validity. And if we give the external message validity, then we're castigating and denigrating women and putting them back in a world where they were unfairly treated and marginalized and stuff like that. But the internal message is an act of self-creation. It's an act of self-care. It's an act of self-evolution and revelation. It's something that you yourself are corresponding with in order to reach your ultimate telos. But the external message is an act of imprisonment, act of incarceration, act of stunting your growth and sabotaging your progress and limiting your capacity. It's from people who hate and despise you. It's from people who don't want to see you reach your destiny and get to the top of the mountain. And so even though both messages are similar on some level, their purposes are vastly different. But because the writers are scared to appear to look like they agree with the external message, they never let that character have that internal transformation. That's what I really think it comes from. That's what I think it stems from. And that's why I think that they have to avoid in the future, that we have to avoid in the future. Just because a woman looks inside herself and realizes that she's not as good as she wants herself to be, right? She's not up to the stuff that she wants herself to be up to. She's not at the level that she wants to be at the level of. That doesn't grant validity to the people in the external world who are haters and who are judgmental and who are sexist, telling her that, oh, just because you're a woman, you're not supposed to be that good. Just because you're a woman, you deserve to be lower. Just because you're a woman, you deserve all the pain and misery and horror of the world. Like, it doesn't match up. They're not the same. They're similar, but they're not the same. That's why I really like Nerd Word. She really brings that point out and puts it in an articulate way that we ourselves can recognize. So shout out to her once again. We're going to keep going. We're almost at the end here, but I'm loving this video. I really don't want it to end. Let's keep going.
Proving it all despite everyone around you working to do so. And as demonstrated through Supergirl's box office numbers, audiences are sick of it. We're sick of stagnant, selfish, sometimes degenerate feminism that has infected our female heroes and preaches to us that excelling isn't necessary, working hard isn't necessary, virtue isn't necessary. Just be your true, authentic self, no matter what that looks like, and you are automatically a hero. You are automatically good. But Hollywood has yet to learn their lessons on this, even though they are bleeding money, and their directors and actors are being mocked as often as these concepts appear on screen. I can only hope for the day when sanity will return to our screens, or else that Hollywood destroys itself completely and we all turn to real, true, authentic heroism that has nothing to do with gender at at all.
Thank you. Thank you. I can only hope for the day that sanity returns to our screens, or that Hollywood destroys itself completely and we all return to the original OG form of heroism that has nothing to do with gender. Well, nerd word, you don't have to wait. Like, you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for the day that Hollywood destroys itself. Absolutely not. A2 Heroes is already here, and we're bringing that forward. We're bringing that vision forward. We're bringing that world forward. We're bringing that reality forward. Like, we don't have to wait for the big boys at the top in California to do it for us. Nah, we could do it ourselves. We got artists, we got writers, we got visionaries. Like, we got people who remember what movies used to be like in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Like, we know people who know the classics. You know the classics. Like, you would be a perfect person to join A2 Heroes and really contribute to the world. Like, you would be a perfect person to bring forward a vision of heroism and have it really, really resonate with audiences like you say it would. Like, I really admire your vision and your passion in that. Like, you're way more polite than me. I want to see Hollywood burn to the ground. I want to see Hollywood burn to the ground. I'm tired of these fools. I don't want to see any other works of art. In fact, skip that. Let them stay up and watch us as we win. Let them watch us as we win. They could actually be chill. They don't need to burn. Right? So I like that you have that same vision, that same drive, that same energy. Like, I don't like that Hollywood is the prevailing voice in the room, but I assure you, just like with A2 Heroes and like with other independent comics and stuff, there are other voices in the room, and they are slowly and steadily growing. So it'd be an honor to have you. Like, absolutely.
Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. Be sure to let me know your thoughts down in the comment section, and let the conversations begin. Until next time, everyone.
Wow.
Do you like drinking copious?
Wow. That was really good. That was really, really, really freaking good. I loved everything about that. That was a great breakdown of why feminism is not heroism and the crucial distinctions and differences between the two. All right. She broke down the problems that we have in modern day culture and movies, where every form of genre fiction is just infected by this myopic notion that just being a woman is sufficient to being a hero, and it's not true. And they just allow women to wallow in self-pity and like mediocrity. And in my opinion, that's like a form of like misogyny. That's like a form of like telling women like, oh, just being a woman is good enough. It's like, no, it's not. Like, if you said that about any other group of people, like, people would immediately identify it for the supremacist ideology that it was. No, you have to perform actions on the stage of the world and engage in the drama of life in order to form meaning. And in doing so, you win the day. You capture victory by taking certain actions, and you show your character with those actions. You display your character through your conduct, and we see your worth. So it's like, it's a process of many different parts that join together in order to have this effect. You can't just completely overlook it. So in her description here, she says, the recent collapse of Supergirl at the box office has made one thing very clear. Female superheroes are failing. And though there are many reasons for that, one of the most important is the baked-in feminism that each of these movies and shows have. It's a baked-in feminism of each and every one of these movies and shows. She's right. All right? Like, I'm a feminist, but I don't bake in feminism into my writing, my vision, my stories, my worlds, my characters, or anything. Like, I don't bake my ideologies into my stories. I don't care about that. I'm conducting a narrative. Like, I'm designing a narrative. They're designing propaganda. I think that's the difference. I'm designing a compelling story and a narrative, but they're designing propaganda. Like, I don't use my favorite color in all my works of art. I don't use my favorite words in all my pieces of literature. Right? It's like using your favorite ideology to guide a narrative is so juvenile and unprofessional. It's very lame. She goes on to say, and to simply be a woman with superpowers does not make a hero. much as they are trying to convince that it is. Most of these women are depressing, selfish, criminal, murderous, or genocidal. Wow. Wow. Thank you. To simply be a woman with superpowers does not make a hero. Thank you. Most of these women are depressing, selfish, criminal, murderous, or genocidal. Thank you so much, Nerdwatch. Thank you so much, Nerdword. You said it right. You said it perfectly. Unfortunately, it sucks to say, but just having superpowers doesn't make you a hero. And a lot of these women that are depicted on the silver screen or in modern day shows and stuff are selfish. They're criminal. They're murderous. They're depressing. They're genocidal. They're not good people. They're really not good people. So I don't like that. I really don't admire that. It's an excuse, and like, it's bad, it's evil. Like, telling stories about evil and genocidal people and then putting them in the protagonist role is like telling people that it's good to do the things that they're doing. Like, that's the best way to say it. It's like telling people that like it's acceptable, because there's no other way to say it. Like, imagine you take like a real world like murderous and genocidal person and then make a movie about them, but instead of putting them in the like ancillary supporting or antagonist role, you put them in the protagonist role and you vindicate their positions and you tell the story from their perspectives and you give them the power of the mic and of last say, and we really harmonize and empathize with them. You take a real world murderous and genocidal person, you do that. Everyone would be appalled by that. Everyone would call that out for what it is. Everyone would immediately identify it for the evil work of art that it is. Yes, art can be evil. Art can be evil. Art is not neutral. Making a story about a depressing, selfish, criminal, murderous, and genocidal person and putting them in the hero role and putting that on the silver screen for millions of people to see and calling that a model to little girls is evil. There's no other word for it. There's really no other word for it. There's really no other word for it. We have one commenter here saying that Jennifer telling Bruce that she's way better than him. Seeing is peak feminism dialogue. It is. We have one commenter here, Freeman, saying Hollywood's idea of a heroic woman is indistinguishable from a male villain. Wow. Wow. He hit the nail on the head. He hit the nail on the fucking head. That's exactly it. Hollywood's idea of a heroic woman is indistinguishable from a male villain. I can't even tell the difference if I wanted to. I really can't. I really can't. Exactly. Look at the Ironheart series, another commenter says. I'm not sure about the Ironheart series. Maybe I'll check that out. And Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Walker was a hero who was treated as a villain. Oh, and the Flagsmasher woman was a villain who was treated like a tragic hero. Yeah. Yeah. Wanda was kidnapped and mentally tortured a whole town for weeks, while the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. was treated like a villain for shooting the manifested entity of Wanda's. Literally, what was that guy even arrested for? Shooting a hallucination? Wow. He's right about Falcon and the Winter Soldier in relation to Walker. Walker was a hero who was treated as a villain. He was dogpiled. He didn't deserve that. He really didn't. I saw some videos about that and it really opened my eyes. I was like, holy shit, they really did this guy bad. This is horrific. Like, he was the valiant, noble, upstanding one who truly represented the vision and image of Captain America and the most worthy one to continue his mission. The other guys just wanted the shield because of the relic that it became, because of what it came to represent, like because of what it was in that way. But he wanted it for the right reasons. They wanted it for selfish reasons. Jesus Christ. Well said. Well said. So I really like that. Even Barbie thinks of herself as a matriarchal dictator. Changed my mind. Unfortunately, yeah, it was Barbie world and she was in charge. She really did think of herself as like the boss babe in charge. So yeah, this is an incredible series by Nerdward. I'm definitely gonna have to come back and watch it again. She broke down everything incredibly well. That was such a refreshing listen. Such like a fresh perspective, such a good take. It's something that definitely deserves to be talked about and really like opined upon. So shout out to Nerdwatch. Like the video, come here and check it out. But for you guys, for A2HEROES, check out the link below. All right, click the link below, check out the website and join the mailing list, guys. All right, the ideas that Nerdward is talking about here are gonna be in our stories. The concepts that Nerdward is bringing forward are gonna be in our stories. The things that she's frustrated with, we're going to remove, we're going to ensure in our stories. The things that she has problems with, we're going to remove, we're going to destroy, we're going to be sure they're not in our stories. Like, she's a brilliant person to really look at and comes to when it comes time to write quality stories. And I'm going to keep her in mind. Really cool stuff. Thank you very much. Take it easy, guys. Click the link below. Check out the website. Join the mailing list. A2 Heroes.